Sacrifice feels clean. There's no negotiation, no conversation. There is absolutely no risk of being misunderstood. You don't need permission to sacrifice. You don't need an agreement. You don't need anyone else involved. You just decide to take on more and you feel strong by doing it. This isn't a parenting podcast. I've got 6 kids and I'm still in the middle of it. The Dad Tribes podcast is about reflection and perception, taking the weight, pressure, and struggles of fatherhood and changing how we see them so they stop breaking us and start building us. Let's dive in. All right, y'all ready to get uncomfortable with me today? I'm going to go a little deep today. I want to discuss why we confuse sacrifice with leadership. So let's dive in. A real man sacrifices. That's leadership. That's what the majority of us were taught. Work longer, sleep less, carry it quietly so nobody else has to. What you do? Absorb the pressure, don't complain, and don't make your problems anyone else's problem. For a long time, I believe that wasn't just strength. I believe that was leadership. And honestly, I don't think that belief came from nowhere. Most men didn't learn leadership from books. We learned it by watching fathers, grandfathers, bosses, men who carried weight silently. Men who just didn't talk about stress. Men who didn't ask for help. Men who just handled it. They just took it. And somewhere along the way, sacrifice is what became proof. Proof that we were responsible. Proof that we were dependable. Proof that we were doing our job. So we didn't question it. We just carried more. Like a competition. Who can carry the most? Sacrifice feels clean. There's no negotiation, no conversation. There is absolutely no risk of being misunderstood. You don't need permission to sacrifice. You don't need an agreement. You don't need anyone else involved. You just decide to take on more and you feel strong by doing it. And that's the part that makes this hard to talk about because sacrifice isn't lazy and it's not selfish and it feels honorable. But here's something subtle that happens. The more we sacrifice quietly, the more we start confusing endurance with leadership. We tell ourselves, if I can just hold on a little longer, if I can just push through this season, if I don't say anything, things won't fall apart. And slowly, leadership turns into disappearance. Not physically, I'm not saying we disappear physically, just emotionally. We're present but unavailable. We're there but not really with anyone. At some point, I had to ask myself a question that made me extremely uncomfortable. Who am I actually leading if I'm just carrying everything quietly? Because leadership isn't measured by how much weight we absorb. It's measured by what happens to the people around us because we're there. And that question, it didn't accuse me, it exposed something. I wasn't leading, I was enduring. Look, this is important. This isn't about sacrificing less. It's not about making someone else carry your load. Sacrifice will always be a part of being a man, part of being a father. The issue isn't sacrifice. The issue is when sacrifice becomes the only way we know how to lead. When carrying everything alone feels safer than being seen while carrying it. Leadership cannot be done in isolation. It requires presence. It requires interaction. It requires staying engaged even when it would be easier to disappear behind responsibility. Sacrifice might protect our image, but leadership protects our connection. And the hardest part isn't carrying the weight. We can do it. It's staying available while carrying the weight. Look, guys, a lot of us are tired. And it's not because we're weak, but because we've been carrying leadership in a way it was never meant to be carried. Again, Sacrifice isn't the enemy, but sacrifice without leadership eventually becomes absence. And the moment I stopped asking, how much more can I take? And started asking, who am I leading by carrying this alone? Everything shifted. Maybe the issue isn't that we don't sacrifice enough. Maybe we've just been confusing silence with strength. Sacrifice can be done alone. Leadership never is. This is why we built Dad Tribes. We built the largest, fastest growing community of dads in the United States with chapters all across the country, local chapters for you to go and hang out with other men who are going through those same things and making those same sacrifices, people that you can speak to and share with and discuss. So that way you're not carrying everything alone. If you continue to sacrifice alone, you will end up alone. And I think the majority of you that are doing this right now can already see that future. You want to change that future, stop doing it alone. It doesn't make you the tough guy by doing it alone. Keep sacrificing. You have to. Be a man, be a father, sacrifice. But don't do it alone. That's not strength. See you tomorrow.